completely reconfigure a memory that I've held dear for ever since I left Old Westbury. She made it very clear to me that I remembered it wrong, even though I've been remembering it and telling a story for years. And so, Lisa, I probably have this wrong, but I have a somewhat different memory of the otter, about how the otter came to Henry. I mean, my memory is that Henry had this earlier otter that died, and he, of course, was very sad about it. And Jane Campbell, I think, came up with the idea and said to me, asked me, would you like to help buy Henry an otter? And apparently, and I guess it's still true today, you can actually, you can find wild animals if you're willing to pay enough. And so I said, sure. So she found out how much an otter would cost, and we split the cost. And then one day she got a phone call that the otter was at JFK or LaGuardia, and since she had a car at that time and I didn't, she drove to the airport to get the otter. And she had, I think, a red Volkswagen Beetle, and the otter was put in some kind of trap or cage or something in the back of the Volkswagen, but inside, in the back seat. And then while she was driving back with the otter on the Long Island Expressway, the otter somehow got out of this container and was moving around in the Volkswagen Beetle. And Jane was very nervous, understandably, but I think she thought the otter sounded like he was right under the driver's seat. And she didn't know what was going to happen. And somehow, she was a very cool cucumber, but she somehow drove on the Long Island Expressway with a wild otter under her seat. And drove to Old Westbury and drove immediately into her garage. And jumped out of the Volkswagen and closed the door and got out with the otter still in the Volkswagen and closed up the garage doors, and then went and told Henry to go in the garage, that there was something there for him. And of course, Henry being who he was, the otter, it was not more than a day or so before the otter was utterly seduced.